Battle Mage Farmer, book number 4, Fermentation, just hit Audible this week. And I thought it would be a really fun time to talk a little bit about it. For anybody who's new to the channel, my name is Seth. I'm a full-time fantasy author, and I like to make YouTube videos. Did you know that I wrote a post-apocalyptic fantasy slice-of-life farming series? It's called Battle Mage Farmer, and it's about a battle-weary mage who's trying to retire to an out-of-the-way valley and start a farm. Adventure ensues. I've written a good few books over the course of my author career, and I have to admit, John and Ellie and Ferdie and Sigvald and all of the other characters hold a really special place in my heart. So I was really excited when Battle Mage Farmer book number 4's audiobook dropped this week. And Michael Kramer, the narrator, has knocked it out of the park again. In fact, if you stick around for a bit, I'm going to have a sneak peek at the audio for book number 4 at the end of this video. With book 5 on the horizon, things are really cooking. And for fans of the series, I've got some exciting news. You may or may not have heard, but Battle Mage Farmer is actually in development for a web novel. I have a particular fondness for manga and web novels, and so I'm really excited in 2024 to bring Battle Mage Farmer, the web novel, to Tapas, one of the best places to get web novels on the internet. Now, some of you are probably like, Seth, we have no idea what you're talking about. We've never heard of these books in our lives. And that's okay. Just go and click on the first link in the description. That's going to take you to the first book in the series, Domestication, on Amazon, and you can check it out for yourself. I thought it would be fun to answer a few common questions around the Battle Mage Farmer series, so here we go. Question number 1. Who is your favorite character? This is actually a really easy question. Ferdie is my favorite character. For those of you who don't know, Ferdie is a giant bull that's very smart and is growing in power alongside of the main character. Originally, he was just sort of a farm animal, but has turned into a little bit more of a pet and then a companion as the series progresses. And I have some really fun things in mind for him. In book number 4, he really starts to come into his own and then is sort of a full-blown member of the cast by book number 5. But even in the earlier books, the scenes that I get to write with Ferdie and with his counterpart, Sigvald the Rooster, are just some of my favorites. The interactions between them are really fun. Question number 2. Where did the idea for this story come from? This is a question I get a lot for all of my series. This one in particular, though, comes from 2 sources. The first is all of the Westerns that I read as a child. I really like the trope of a stranger riding into town with dust hanging in the air, and then seeing how the story unfolds as you reveal more and more and more of the backstory of that mysterious character. And so that's sort of what I was going for with John, who's the main character of Battle Mage Farmer. But I also had this desire to mesh genres, and I wanted to write something sort of post-apocalyptic, and I wanted to write something that was slice of life. And then I had this brilliant idea, why don't I just mesh them together and save myself some time? And so I did. And I didn't know how it was going to go. Honestly, I was a little bit worried about it. But it seems to have done pretty well. Battle Mage Farmer is this delightful blend of sort of gritty, intense action and high adventure, and then also sort of relaxed slice of life farming sim. Last question, how many books are there going to be in the series? Again, I get this question a lot because I just tend to write long series. And the answer to that question was 6. And I say was because I'm actually kind of considering extending it to 9. Let me know in the comments down below if you're interested in getting more Battle Mage Farmer books. I have this bad habit where I start to write a story and then I just sort of get sucked into it. And I realize that I have a lot more story to tell than I originally thought. I have an idea of where I want to end this series, but I also have a lot more ideas for a lot more story. And so let me know in the comments down below if you would be interested in getting a book 7, 8, and 9 of Battle Mage Farmer. I'm definitely writing book 6, and whether or not I'm going to end the series there will sort of depend on whether people are still interested in hearing more of John and Ellie's story. Last but not least, before we get into that preview I talked about earlier, I have a question for you. If I had the opportunity to create a Ferdie plushie, that is a plushie of the flaming bowl, would you be interested in buying one? Let me know down in the comments below. All right, thank you for sticking around, and here is that preview of Battle Mage Farmer book number 4, Fermentation, narrated by Michael Kramer.
That afternoon, John headed for town, his mind still full of thoughts of noodles. He had been trying to think of how best to use the wheat that was being grown, and noodles seemed like the perfect solution. Not only were they easy to make, but they could be dried, allowing them to keep for a long time. The problem was he didn't actually know how to make them. Tossing that problem to the back of his mind, he tapped on Merlin's sides, urging his horse to speed up. Haver had asked him to swing by, and since John wanted to put an order in at the general store, he figured now was as good a time as any. Fairford had grown considerably since he had arrived in the valley, and after all of the turmoil of the last 3 years, John had grown to enjoy the small town and the people who lived in it. On his way into town, he caught sight of Garrett, the village blacksmith, waving at him, so he stopped to chat.
"John, beautiful day, isn't it? Much better than the rain we've had the last few weeks."
"Did the rain slow business down much?" John asked, leaning his arms on his saddle's pommel. Shaking his head, Garrett jerked a thumb at the main street, which was filled with wagons.
"No, there have been so many new people in town that we're swamped. A lot of wagon repairs and shoeings, but the big draw is building materials. A lot of orders for nails, building tools, hearths, and the like. That's actually what I wanted to talk to you about. You have a forge out at your place, right? We're up to our eyeballs in work orders, and more are piling up every day. I was hoping I could rent your forge for the next few weeks."
"No need to rent it," John said, waving his hand. "Just send a team over whenever you want to use it."
"I can't use it for nothing,"
Garrett protested. "Tell you what, when you have a spare moment, make me a nice gate. I've been thinking about putting one at the end of the lane, but haven't had time to put anything together. That and one of those pies your wife makes."